So due to the current pandemic that is going on in our entire society, I have found myself looking over the NBA draft quite more often than I'd imagine myself ever doing. And in doing so, I've already made my NBA draft comparisons video, which I'll leave a link to it in the description down below. I think it's a fantastic video, by the way. But even furthermore, I've begun to look into some of the teams that might be trying to throw smoke screens at us, and more specifically, the Golden State Warriors. Now, if you guys didn't know, about a couple of months ago, I made a video. It ended up being like the 7th highest viewed video on my YouTube channel called How the Golden State Warriors Are Lying to Us. In this video, I pretty much documented this evil concoction or this evil plan that the Golden State Warriors, including Bob Myers, Steve Kerr, and Joe Lacob, are all planning to completely destroy the NBA once again in a way that involves them, one, using their salary cap space, and two, using their draft capital to not only attain a superstar asset, but also attain a draft asset that could keep them relevant for most possibly the next 5 years in the entire NBA. So what's going on, guys? Your boy TheFlightMike back again with another video. And guys, real quick before we get to this content, this video is sponsored. Guys, I want to take a moment to talk to you about today's sponsor, which is Cove Audio, and the product we are promoting is the Commuter 2.0. And guys, you need to understand, I'm very into music festivals, so sound quality is very important to me. And the one thing that separates this speaker from my old portable speaker, which is in the garbage right now, by the way, is the fact that I could do this. Dude, do you know what this means? It means that you could place one end of these speakers on one side of your room, the other end of this speaker on another side of the room, which creates really cool surround sound for your music. It has like 7 hours of battery life, which is pretty good for a portable speaker, but my favorite part of these speakers is the fact that they are water resistant, meaning you could separate these speakers, place them around your shower, which is something I love doing, by the way. Go into your shower and literally have mini music festivals without worrying about damaging the speaker. Furthermore, Cove is probably the most generous brand I've worked to since starting on YouTube, guys, because they're giving you a 65% discount when you use my promo code, which is TheFlightMike, or you could just go to the description down below and click the link. 65% off of these. Carry the one. Do the advanced calculus in my brain. Brings these speakers from $200 to $70. This is definitely worth the purchase. I'm going to leave a link to it in the description down below, and let's get to today's video. Shout outs for the sponsor. These sponsorships are keeping the channel afloat during this very, very difficult time. And guys, also, I wanted to make an announcement. I am going to begin doing rebuilds on my Flight Plays channel. A link to it's in the description down below. I am taking suggestions for any team that you'd like to see me rebuild. I have some more time to direct towards gaming, so I also am going to be live streaming on Twitch. I live stream on Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Sundays at 9 p.m. Pacific time. Now that that's all out of the way, let's talk about the Golden State Warriors. So in my video, my previous video that was made a couple of months ago, there was this scenario I proposed where and this was at the time where the Warriors still had D'Angelo Russell. I suggested that the Golden State Warriors could potentially ship off D'Angelo Russell for, I don't know, Robert Covington at the time, which I thought made sense at the time, and ultimately go ahead and draft LaMelo Ball. But a couple months have passed, and we have something to base what we believe the Warriors are going to be drafting. And I think this is the biggest lie in all of sports. You see, in most mock drafts, if you look at any mock draft on any website, most mock drafts have the Golden State Warriors picking #1 overall. And for the entirety of the year, for the most part, the #1 overall pick was set in stone. Everyone thought that the Golden State Warriors would take James Wiseman. It just makes sense. He was making an argument for being the top player in the entire class. He is exactly what the Golden State Warriors need, and it's like poetry in motion whenever need and team fit are at the very top, and it just makes sense for a team. And I thought that was the case. The Warriors clearly could use a center. They have Klay Thompson at the guard. They have Steph Curry at the point guard. They have Andrew Wiggins at small forward, and they have Draymond Green. And then things started to change. So, for those of you guys that don't know, Dayton's Obi Toppin has been absolutely tearing the NCAA season up. Like, he has been absolutely phenomenal. And he made a request, and not even a request, he demanded that the Golden State Warriors draft him. Now look, if you're Obi Toppin, you have to understand that obviously you'd want the Golden State Warriors to draft you. That's clearly the team that has the highest likelihood of placing you in a championship-winning environment. Their culture is stable, and believe it or not, I think one of the best picks that the Warriors could make if they don't get the number 1 overall pick is drafting Obadiah Toppin. Or is it Obadiah Toppin? Let me know in the comment section down below. He averaged 20 points, 7.5 rebounds, 2.2 assists, and 1.2 blocks, and 1 steal per game. And here's the thing. If the Warriors get like the number 3 pick, or, James Wiseman went off the board at number 2 and Anthony Edwards went off the board at number 1, and you have to choose between LaMelo Ball and Obi Toppin, I would go with Obi, and this is why. Here's the thing. You are paying Draymond Green an obscene amount of money if you're the Golden State Warriors. And if you ask me, Obi has a very similar game to Draymond, only he has a much better finishing ability. He is able to grab those rebounds and he could run the floor, but at the same time, he's not as much of a playmaker as Draymond is, although I believe in the Golden State Warriors system, you can make him into that. But here's the thing that I believe is the biggest lie that the Golden State Warriors have told us. They claim that they'll draft Anthony Edwards number 1 overall if they get the number 1 overall pick. And here's why. Let's go back a couple months ago, and of course, we could poke a hole in my logic here, and we'll do that at the very end of the video. Let's go back to the very beginning of the NBA season. Okay, we all know what happened. The Golden State Warriors signed D'Angelo Russell. Klay Thompson was out for the entire season, and they wanted to see how he fit next to Steph Curry, but we all know what they were really doing. The Golden State Warriors essentially just wanted to get an asset in return for trading Kevin Durant to the Nets. And D'Angelo Russell is either one of two. He either, one, understood that he was just going to be used by the Golden State Warriors and traded to the Timberwolves, or two, he was oblivious to the fact and he felt like there was a reality that featured him, Steph Curry, and Klay Thompson, which I personally don't believe was the case. If that truly was the case, the Warriors would have waited for Klay Thompson to come back and to see how they all played together, and they didn't. So clearly the Warriors had an agenda at the time. And what sucks is D'Angelo Russell was planning on going to the Timberwolves anyways, but I guess now he gets a fatter contract because he did that, because he signed with his old team and then he got traded. So I guess he won in that sense, and I doubt D'Angelo Russell is that oblivious to not understand what's going on. But here's the thing, you have D'Angelo Russell on your team. I guess you could say he's not exactly Anthony Edwards. They both play a different type of game. I don't know if you could call Anthony Edwards a combo guard. He is the same size as D'Angelo Russell, but the skills he provides is nothing like D'Angelo Russell, except for the fact that he could score, but he scores in a completely different way. And what I'm talking about is Anthony Edwards is like New Orleans Hornets J.R. Smith. More than that's kind of what I see in Anthony Edwards. He's a player that's a streaky scorer. You know, he could take over games and sometimes he could just frustrate you, but he has jump out of the gym athleticism. And if the Warriors were to draft him, he would most likely be coming off of the bench as the sixth man. And initially I was thinking, okay, you could either draft your sixth man or you could draft your future center. You could draft James Wiseman and place him at the center position, and you could have an absolutely terrifying starting five that doesn't even need to run through James Wiseman, which I have said repeatedly. I don't think it's possible to run an offense through James Wiseman. I don't think it's smart to run an offense through James Wiseman. He's probably best suited as a complementary piece, filling the Dwight Howard role, the current Dwight Howard role that he fills on the Lakers with the Warriors until he becomes comfortable and ready in the NBA. That's my opinion. But then immediately I had one question in mind. Why would the Golden State Warriors once again put themselves in the exact same position, the exact same situation that they were in before, where they have D'Angelo Russell, they had a point guard / shooting guard. Literally, D'Angelo Russell's a combo guard. The number one praise I have for D'Lo is the fact that he could literally direct your offense. He could, create plays for his teammates, or he could play off of the dribble. He could just be purely a shooter, which is fantastic. I think that's my favorite part about D'Angelo. But Anthony Edwards is just a shooting guard. And you still have the same problem with Klay Thompson. Klay Thompson's going to be starting over him. And then let's say in another 3 to 4 years, you're going to have the question of, okay, Anthony Edwards is now ready for a max contract. He's a restricted free agent. And Klay Thompson is 34, but he's one of the most decorated, if not the most, he's one of the most decorated guards in Golden State Warriors history. So what do you do at that point? Are you going to sign Klay Thompson to a smaller contract? Do you think Klay will be okay with that? Especially because he didn't get the Supermax extension this year because he wasn't eligible for it. Like, he really got snubbed out of that extension if you think about it. So if you ask me, I don't think it makes sense for the Warriors to draft Anthony Edwards. I feel like if they do draft Anthony Edwards, he's going to be packaged with Andrew Wiggins to another team to acquire a superstar. Now, what superstar that might be, I think that load is only, a top 5 pick and a high upside player, which I know a lot of us are sick of saying that Andrew Wiggins is a high upside player. But in my opinion, if he's placed in the right situation, he could be an above average wing player for you. I feel like that should yield you a superstar return. Now, I don't know if it's Giannis Antetokounmpo because, again, I can't say. I don't know because we don't know how Giannis is feeling in Milwaukee, and unless if he wins a championship, that's probably not going to change. But if you ask me, I don't think it will. I think the Golden State Warriors are completely giving us a smokescreen here. Why would you draft a sixth man that, again, the only way this works out is if after Klay is, past his prime, he's okay with taking a pay cut and you choose to pay Anthony Edwards over him, or you just pay a ton of luxury tax, or you decide to trade him. So that's the only way I could see any of this working. I wanted to get your guys' take on this. Do you think the Golden State Warriors are capping whenever they say that they're going to draft Anthony Edwards if they had the number 1 overall pick? Or do you think they would go with James Wiseman, a player that would anchor their team? Honestly, he would be the perfect fit for their team. They need a center. James Wiseman's versatile. James Wiseman's great at protecting the rim. James Wiseman is a great finisher. He could be that Clint Capella type that the Warriors would like. But I wanted to get your guys' thoughts on this. I'm your boy, TheFlightMike, and make sure you guys are following me on Twitch and my gaming channel for some additional content.